Hi guys, today's lesson is another day of point slope formula. However, this time, instead of knowing a point and the slope, we're only going to be given 2 points. So we're going to have to use those 2 points to get our slope. So to write a linear equation that passes through 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, we have to first use the slope formula followed by the point slope formula. So remember, the slope formula was m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And the point slope formula, which you learned yesterday, was y minus y1 equals my slope, m, times x2 times x minus x1. All right, so let's do a couple examples. It says write the equation of the line that passes through the given 2 points. Write all final answers in slope-intercept form, which remember that means our answers need to look like y equals mx plus b. So the first thing you're going to want to do is label your coordinates. So you're going to label your coordinates x1, y1, and x2 and y2. So if we label my x1, y1, that will be my first coordinate. My second coordinate is x2, y2. Your second step would be to use the slope formula. And find the slope. All right, so our slope formula is right here. So it says to do y2, which is -1, minus y1, which is 7, all over x2, which is 1, minus x1, which is -3. So now -1 minus 7 is -8. And 1 minus -3, that's like 1 plus 3, which is 4. Now simplify that. So -8 divided by 4 is -2. So I have a slope of -2. Your third step will be to pick either point. It doesn't matter which one you pick. And plug that point and the slope you just found into the point slope formula. And again, we wrote the point slope formula up here in case you don't remember what that is. All right, so it really does not matter what point you pick to put in, I promise. Let's just pick the first point just because, I don't know, it really wouldn't matter. You will get the same answer regardless what point you pick. So that said -3, 7. All right, so that's my point. And then, of course, I have my slope. So I'm going to use both these things and plug it into this point slope formula. So this is my x1 and y1. So when I plug this in, we don't plug anything in for the plain old y and x. Those just stay y and x. So it would be y minus, my y1 would be 7, equals, then it says to do m, which rm is -2, parenthesis, then it says to do x minus, and we let our x1 be that -3. Cool. So that would be step 3. Pick either point and plug it into that formula. So that's what we did. The very last step is going to be to put it in slope-intercept form. So put in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So the math you're going to have to do, you're going to have to solve for y. you're going to have to get the y all by itself. So first things first, this minus negative here is driving me nuts. Let's change that to a plus. So I'm going to rewrite this. Y minus 7 equals negative 2 times x plus 3. And if you need to write down in problem number 3, we'll make sure we skip that one. So these take a lot of space, and there's not very much space there. All right, so solve this for y. We want to get this y all by itself. So first thing you're going to want to do on all these is distribute your whatever's out front. So we have a negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So now I have y minus 7 equals negative 2x minus 6. All right, so I still just want that y by itself, so I'm going to have to get rid of this minus 7. So the opposite of subtraction would be to add 7. I do not add it to that x because I can't add an x with a regular number that doesn't have an x. So I just have to add it to the negative 6. So I have negative 2x, and then negative 6 plus 7 is a positive 1. And this would be your answer. So just double check. Does your answer look like y equals mx plus b? Right? It was supposed to look like this. So we do have y equals mx plus b. So we are finished. All right, let's try another one before I have you guys do one by yourself. All right, so it said first step, label your coordinates x1 and y1. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, step 2 done. Then it says to use the slope formula to find the slope. So again, our slope formula is up here. So we do y2, negative 4, minus y1, negative 7, all over. Then it says to do x2 minus x1. So x2 is 3, minus x1 is negative 6. So now if we clean it up, that would be like negative 4 plus 7, which is 3. 3 plus 6 is 9. So make sure you reduce that. Use your calculator. Do 3 divided by 9, and then hit math, enter, enter. And it should tell you that that is 1/3. So this is my slope, 1/3. Third step says pick either point and plug that point and the slope into the point slope formula. I'm going to pick the first one again. I always pick the first one. So I'm picking the point negative 6, negative 7. So in my formula, that would be the x1 and the y1. So these are the pieces I'm using, and I'm plugging it into the point slope formula. All right, so it says to do y minus y1, which is negative 7, equals my slope, which is 1/3, times. Then the formula says to do x minus x1, which we labeled was negative 6. Again, we could have picked the other point. We will get the same answer at the end. All right, so now I just have to clean this up. My minus negatives, I changed to plus. So I'd have y plus 7 equals 1/3 times x plus 6. So minus a negative makes a positive. Second step, so now what we're doing is step 4, sorry. We're going to solve this for y because we need to put it in slope-intercept form. So our first step in solving for y is always to distribute the slope in. So 1/3 times x is just 1/3 x. 1/3 times 6 is 2. If you don't know, use your calculator. There's no shame in that, I promise. All right, so the last thing to get this y by itself, I have to move this plus 7. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So the y is now by itself. I have 1/3 x. Positive 2 minus 7 is a minus 5. So then we just have to check, does this look like y equals mx plus b? My b is just a negative though. So that would be your answer. All right, so there's 2 examples. Let's have you guys try a couple. So we'll skip down to number 5. So we have the point negative 8, 1 and 0, negative 5. So go ahead, label your coordinates, find your slope, pick a point. You can continue to just use the first point if you want. Plug your point and your slope into the point slope formula and then solve it for y. I would also like you to try number 6 on your own. So again, label your coordinates, plug it into the slope formula, find your slope, pick either your first or your second coordinate, plug it into the point slope formula. Once everything's plugged in, solve your equation for y. All right, I'm going to do another one with you. All right, so step 1 says label your coordinates, x1, y1, x2, y2. Then it wants you to plug it into the slope formula to find your slope. So remember, our slope formula is y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So if we plug our y2 in first, it would be 2 minus my y1 is negative 14 all over, then it says to do x2 minus x1. So this is our slope. So 2 minus negative 14 is like 2 plus 14, which is 16. 3 minus negative 9 is like 3 plus 9, which is 12. So now I know that can be reduced. So remember, to do that in a calculator, you would do 16 divided by 12, hit equals, and then math, enter, enter, and it'll reduce it for you. So when I reduce this, let's see here, I could take a 4 out of both of these. This would reduce to 4 over 3. So my slope is 4/3. So then the next step is to pick a point. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to just use the first point. And that will be my x1 and my y1 in my formula. Okay, so remember the point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if I plug everything in where it belongs, remember we keep y as it is, so y minus, and then y1 is negative 14 equals, then it wants my slope, which is 4/3. Then we keep the x, so it'd be x minus, and then my x1 is negative 9. And remember, you could have picked the other point, and at the end we would get the same answer. So now if we clean this up, my y minus negative 14 is like y plus 14. My x minus negative is really like x plus 9. All right, second step here in solving this for y would be to distribute your 4/3 in your set of parentheses. So I'd have y plus 14 still. 4/3 times x is just 4/3 x. 4/3 times 9 is 12. Again, use your calculator to do those. That's perfectly fine. My last step to get this y by itself would be to subtract 14 over to the other side. 14 minus 14 cancels, and I'm left with y equals 4/3 x, and then 12 minus 14 is negative 2. So we've now made an equation that looks like y equals mx plus b. And we're finished. All right, I'm going to have you guys do one more. So go ahead and complete number 8 for me. So again, remember to label your coordinates first. Find your slope using the slope formula. Pick a point. I think it's just easy to stay with that first point. Plug your slope and your point into the point slope formula. Once everything's in, you solve it to get the y by itself so that it looks like y equals mx plus b. So go ahead and finish number 8. Once you are finished, you have finished this video. Let us know if you have any questions.